be successful, make money. What is the meaning of your life?
So when I built the company, we grossed $200 million before we did ads. It was all viral.
Organic.
Every time I was like, how can I go viral? Give it to influencers, but then within, I had to create a team that was only in the office talking all the time and social media. And you find that there's always one rock star that's gonna be the star. Now,
Right.
sometimes in real life, they're not gonna be the most charismatic people, but you give them a camera, they're natural. And then you get that super cool it girl, ringleader, you give her a camera, mechanical. And you can't teach it. You can make her better than what she was, but she's not gonna be that rock star. So those who have it, those who don't, and just the only way to do it is throw them into the water, like fish in the water.
Okay, are you it girl on camera in real life? Or
I'm not a
no?
girl, nothing. I'm a man. I will tell you one thing. I'm definitely blessed when it comes down to be comfortable in front of the camera. This is something that helps because when you're a founder and you're comfortable, it can get you through a lot of troubles. Look, we're selling makeup. You give it to 1 million women.
That's why you care about being manly man, because you used to sell makeup?
Well, I didn't go and tell you how to apply makeup. I was honestly making it, because the question is, are you consumer facing? Yes and no. The ones who applied and show how to and all that stuff were girls that were using it and they're doing a good job. But for me, I would sneak peek what's gonna be next month in a box. Anyone can do that one. And because
How?
so I will go and I will just hold the phone, walk around in my stories, and then I would make sure that something's gonna be behind me and you can see a piece of it. And then eventually they would create Reddit groups and Facebook groups, zooming in, talking about this and say, this, we've seen this, and eventually they would see it in the box. So eventually you kind of like play like a scavenger hunt. So over time, there's a community of girls that says, he's always sneak peeking it without saying it. And it became a thing. So you'll talk to them. Now, when did I actually start talking to crowds? When problems happen, when things don't work out. You send a box with 5 items. One of the items, they think it's fake. Oh, why? Well, I don't know. I mean, that skincare packaging is blue, and in Sephora it's blue, but it's a different blue. But what they don't understand, when you make 400,000 or 500,000 units, they make few batches. Not all batches in the packaging line looks exactly the same blue.
The color of the paper.
Yeah, nobody goes in one Sephora to another Sephora and measure it. But when you have 400,000 girls getting it at the same time, putting it on social media, you're gonna see some inconsistencies in colors. So you have to go in and explain this, and you bring the owner of the company next to you. Guys, we wanted to tell you this is the packaging. That's how you bring the technicality explanation behind this. And they actually appreciate that. They said, oh my God, the founder is coming in. Instead of writing a company letter to explain this in a formal way, you go in and you just hold the phone and you walk around and you talk very unscripted, and that's what they liked. And when I saw that it works, I said, oh, that's kind of cool. And I remember that my account was private, so I didn't keep it private because I saw a lot of them trying to follow me. And then eventually I said, what else can I do to build a community? And it was easier, so I don't have to apply it, but I can tell them what happened and that it's all good, and that's how it all started.
But you and makeup, like, how does it even, like, did you start with the data that it's
It's
the
a business
fastest
of
growing?
things. It's not that I have to apply it. Because the mistake is everyone's gonna tell you, follow your passion. It's not
Okay.
true. I mean, if my passion is not gonna make me money, I'm just limiting myself to my passion. No, I'm looking for an opportunity. If there was opportunity in makeup, the cost ratio in makeup, if you look at a lipstick, it costs you like $1 and change, $1.15 to make a lipstick. You sell it for $20 in Sephora. There's a lot of profit on it. Now, what can I put it in a box now? Can I pay the cost of it? There's a lot of opportunities over there. So now the business of things is where you're excited about. I don't care about the makeup for me, but I do care about the makeup when I see a new trend going and I see that, oh, they all like the new hyaluronic highlighter. I got to get it into the box now. I don't have to apply it to know that that's
You
a
have
new
a
trend.
nose for money, and you would do only what makes money.
It's a game. The money is the byproduct. It's kind of like a video game, and the money is just a way to keep score, right? So if you're good at that, but if they'll tell you, oh, follow your passion, and even Jeff Bezos said, follow your passion. Like, no, you follow your. I mean, I don't think your passion, Mr. Jeff, was to sell books.
No,
It was the business of things.
It was data driven. He saw it's the fastest growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then it's confusing when you put it this way. You go, I like to read books. Maybe I'll make money on books. Like, no, it's not that. I like to dance salsa. It's like, That's not necessarily where the money is at. You might, but you're limiting yourself
Money is
only for
definitely
that.
not in salsa.
Not in salsa. Yeah, don't think that. I'm telling you, don't. That's not it.
Yeah. I used to live in LA and I was dancing salsa bachata. I was reconsidering whether I should
Look at you.
whether I should actually pursue that career. Then I was training with the world champions and I knew how much money they make. And I'm like, the math isn't mathing. I'd rather be wealthy doing what I do and hire world trainers to train with me so I don't depend on my body.
So you do LA style or what did you do?
I did LA style.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I used
Now
to.
that's
I was
into-
addicted to salsa too. That's why I brought it up and look at this LA style. I was more into the Cuban Rueda Casino, and we were doing the
Oh no, for me,
my time.
bachata #1, then salsa.
Okay.
I really loved it. When I first started working at a startup, at a fintech startup, I was stressing everyone out. And the co-founders like Kristina, maybe there is a dream you had. Like, how about you start investing some time in this and your energy in something? That's how I started dancing.
And you looked into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm very competitive. So
So you
I
like
immediately-
bachata more than salsa?
Now, yes.
Have you
but
been to Dominican Republic?
Huh?
Dominican Republic? Okay, that's where it's from.
Central. Like the Dominican, yeah, that's where it's from. But there are like two types of bachata, like tippy toeing, like all of these movements, and I'm like, okay, this is like, can we stop? And I like more central, but I also love salsa.
Okay.
And actually, one of my teachers, he opened the studio in LA, and that's the thing that he's saying, just like not a lot of money. And one of my dreams in one of the exits, I want to donate money so he starts the academy and teaches kids, because it's truly not a lot of money, although they dedicate their whole lives to become the best and they have to train their whole lives. And it's truly the passion,
Yeah.
but it's no money. And you depend on
There's
your
not,
body
not,
for
not a
performance.
lot of money because you get, it's, I think the skill to learn salsa is not that hard, right? Because it's 1, 2, 3 step, 1, 2, 3
Well,
step,
man,
whatever
it's
it is.
harder.
But then, well, yeah, because you have to lead. But you really have to love it. If you're there for the money, it's not. You might, if you're a businessman behind this and you go to clubs and you have to think about the business of things. But those who teach salsa,
No, the Tam and Sam are just not there. The math is not mathing. So I thought about it.
You have to have it as a piece of something.
Yeah.
It's fun. My ex-wife is Dominican, so I used to go to DR and I saw the way they dance bachata. And I mean, look, I like the other way, which is more like the non-Dominican ways that are trying to make it more ballet style into it. But when you see the Dominicans dance, oh my God, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah. That's the central that you're talking about. That was really pretty. And you're like, man, I don't know if I can get to that level, but I like it.
Yeah, it feels amazing. But I also didn't pursue it because I knew that the money isn't there. And there was an instance when I was like very competitive. I injured a leg and I'm like, oh, yeah, the math isn't mathing. It is what I love, but when I don't depend on it, I don't have to do it. I love it even more because I do it for joy without the pursuit.
Yeah, it's a leisure. I mean, people shouldn't get confused leisure for business. But in my case, like when I get into my first company, I was really into salsa and cooking. And it's not like I was dancing salsa at that point much. I was more listening to salsa. But then I got into my first business and I honestly forgot about my hobbies. I haven't danced for years. I haven't cooked nothing. Like none of that. It just, the business became way more exciting. So now I'm in my third run and I will tell you that there is an addiction component for business because you cash out on the last company and at first you said, I feel at peace. I don't think I'm going to do it again. That's enough. It's so fun that you don't have that underlying stress. If someone calls you after hours, some bad things happen. No one could solve it. They call you. So you have that peace, but the underlying stress also gives excitement. So it's like you feel like the dopamine rush of solving those big problems that you have gives you so much dopamine that you don't get it in a civilian life. And you can just sit down on the beach and looking at the ocean or something. Just not exciting. There's not much to do. So eventually you get bored and you're like, I got to do something else. Otherwise I go crazy. I need to sleep on something. I need to wake up for something. And then you go and you start a new business.
So it's not as much money.
Like I was literally going back to my hobbies. And maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. Like going back into salsa again. Like, no, there's something better business. Let's find something else,
But can you do both business and hobbies?
It depends how you're wired. I feel like if you're already into it, in my case, when I'm into something, I really don't have kind of like a split. I will still listen to the music when I hit the gym and so on, but in my past, I wasn't. I didn't want to do it.
You're obsessive.
Yeah, I'm obsessive over just building this big thing, and there's the next thing I have to do, and it's all about kind of like do it fast enough because the timing is everything, and you appreciate that tiny momentums within the business to kind of like go from one stepping stone to another, to another, to another, and you have to do it faster and faster and faster. You don't wait, and just the way I'm wired, right? I'm very intense, and I mean, just my personality. I'm a nice guy, but if you work with me and I find out you're not great, you're gonna earn a nickname very quickly. And just the way I am, and you try to work on yourself on this. And who cares about the hobby at that point? Hobby, it's a distraction. So you ended up finding that that's the way you're wired. That's the way it's working for you. Some other people are different. I mean, I know people that are very successful that they go to soccer games and like, I don't understand how people care about soccer. And do you really? I mean, I feel like it's all a bunch of bullshit. They're like messing with me that they really care that much about this. Like, how? How can you care? Like, why would you care about that? But you understand that, you know what? There are some people that still make it and they have 12 different hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you talked about the divorce. So how's your relationship? When you obsess about business, does it also go away that you're like, I don't care about the relationships and
No.
hobbies?
I'm an angel. You're looking at an angel. This is angel face over here. Look, to be honest with you, my ex-wife and I are great, and we had great relationship, and I feel like I've built this, but she was a big part of that. And actually, when I sold the company, so, you know, most of the time, she didn't know how much we're really going to sell it for. And we already separated. And we're good during the separation. And the only person that knew about the exit was her. But I didn't want to tell her until we actually go through it, because I wanted to make sure, I didn't want to disappoint her if it didn't come through, because you'll have multiple standoffs when it's hundreds of millions online. It's like that. It might not happen. So but I have to talk to someone, and it has to be her. So I told her, we might get $10 million. And she's, nah, really? I'm like, yeah, 10 million. Like, that's amazing. But, 10 million was good for us, but it wouldn't really change our life that dramatically, but it would be good. She didn't know what we're really going to get. And I didn't want to tell her until the end. And at the end, I told her, like, by the way, do you know how much you're really going to get? And she's like, oh, shut the fuck up. I'm like, no, for real. This is what we're getting. She's like, oh my God. Shit. So that was the only person. So even though we broke up, relationship was great, still great. There are ups and downs. I mean, I'm not going to tell you, because sometimes she's wrong and I'm right. Oh, I'm always right. You know how it is, right? But overall, like, she's a good person. I'm a good person. No one is trying to, like, warfare people. And that's,
you split the exit half?
Listen, honestly, I'm not going into this in a podcast. It's nobody's business. But I would tell you that because we were building everything together, even if there was no law like this, I would not feel comfortable not doing that. Yeah. Right? She was really with me through the process. I mean, probably when you ask her, how do you come up with a lot of the name? She came up with the company name. But not just that, obviously, a lot more than that. She's very, very smart. So it was, when you think about the next person you're going to be with, you want to make sure that that's a person you can bounce ideas with. Yeah. You want to make sure that you can be with someone that cares, truly, that's going to stress with you when you're stressed, but also going to give you input that you, in a way that you don't think, because she's completely different than me. I'm very intense. She's not. She processes things differently than I am. So I would tell her something. She might think about it there too, but then come up with completely different 180 ideas. And that's what I needed. And that was one of my best leverages building a business. So.
Wow. I didn't expect that from you. Having a relationship is one of the best leverages in building a business.
I mean, look, maybe you can do it without. I mean, I'll show you single friends that made way bigger businesses than mine, right? And they don't have anyone to do it with. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it, but it's one of the ways. There's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So for me, I would say it was really, really important. And for some reason, every company I had, I was always around female. And it was always working great, because I always noticed that they would think in a way I don't think, and they know how I think, and they know where I'm going to make a mistake and so on. And then I knew where they're going to be wrong. So it was really complementary.
Do you think like women have and intuition, or it depends on a woman? What do you think is the difference between
I'll
women?
tell you a funny story about intuition with women. So when I sold the company, I sold the company to my competition. They were based near San Fran in San Mateo, not San Fran, but San Mateo, which is 40 minutes away. And the name is Ipsy, and they were kind of like our competitors, and not kind. They were our only real competitors, which there were no real competition. But let's just give them that. Point is, I had to go, once we started the process of selling, they came in, they gave an offer, we finally all agreed on the offer. I had to go and visit them. And there was only a few key people in the company that knew about this. I had a VP that she moved in about a year before. She loved life because before that she was in corporate and LVMH brand, and coming with us, it was amazing. She loved what we were doing. She loved every day coming to the office. And then one day I was in San Fran, that secret meeting in Ipsy. We had to come and be hush-hush. Nobody over there was supposed to know that I'm coming, but I had to go there. And, in San Francisco, you have many big brands. I was traveling all the time as a CEO. I was traveling everywhere. I was going to Korea to see brands. She's like, why are you going to San Fran? Are you going to Ipsy? Are you selling the company? These crazy thoughts. Will you stop thinking like it's women crazy thoughts? But yes, I was. And she knew. And she was right away, just talking. As soon as I said hello to her on that phone, what's that hello? Where are you at? I'm like, nothing, in San Francisco. Why are you in San Francisco? That's the sixth sense. I'm like, damn, you think it's the same. How the hell did you know? How did you put it all together? What are the odds? So yes, women have sixth sense, definitely. I respect that.
And this is a superpower like you want to utilize for your advantage.
Yeah, listen, I will tell you that intuition is a real thing. I also try to prioritize mine. When you have that, everybody has it, right? It's kind of like a bell curve that we all have it, and it depends if you decide to suppress it or you decide to work with this. And I can tell you that every time I had that feeling, it comes from a different part of the brain, and say, can you go back to that part? What else do you see over there? It's just something that eventually you can start developing. If you just listen to it, you'll see it coming more and more.
Yeah, I think when you trust in little things, then it almost doubling down on what works. And then I'm curious how now you feel that this is aligned. I personally have like energy, like an energy wave, and I have goosebumps whenever it's the right next step, right person, right hire even. I'm like, I have this.
You can feel it.
It's a physical sensation
Yeah.
up and down my body.
Yeah. No, and I'll tell you why I respect, because I went through that in 20 years running companies. I know exactly what you're referring to. If it's an opportunity, if it's someone that told you something, if it's something that you've seen through, or a person you meet, you can feel it and you feel the connection. And then if you suppress it to just, and back then, by the way, I was not always like this. I was very sarcastic. I would come up with mumbo jumbo jokes about you and so on. Back then I was different, but ultimately when you come up from the other side and you ask yourself questions, how did I build a company that size? We're grossing 500 million. How? Who am I? And you start, and then I remember that happened. How did I know? What happened here? You go back, you try to process this. And the one thing you understand is that you need to really trust the fact that there is another piece in your brain that go from your ancestors, give you some information, just like a bird that wants to migrate from Asia to Africa. And how is it that they know the trail? How? It is in their DNA. There is a programming. And who said we don't have that? If a bird has it, we should have it too. Shut the fuck up, respect it, don't make jokes about this, and maybe you're going to strengthen that ability if you're lucky enough. And eventually you start seeing some glimpse of it coming back. I'm not going to tell you you live by it, but it's something that you respect.
Question. How do you differentiate what is that intuition telling you and what is your pattern? Just because you were brought up and you have that pattern, sometimes it might not.
Pattern of thinking.
Yeah.
So the conscious part where we say, okay, let's just say the easiest way for me to think about this, if I tell you, look, here's a picture, tell me what you think, but think about it, but don't overthink it.
Yeah.
So that would be your intuitive part.
Yeah.
When you overthink it, you think pros versus cons, should I not, right? You take your time and you need, at the end of the day, a receipt of this is the arithmetic, this is why, and this is how, right? This is what we're conditioned to think. The other part is going to be think it, but don't overthink it. And the easier way to say this is profiling people. if I come to you right now and you say, I don't trust this guy,
Yeah.
you don't even know why, but you just say, don't trust. Okay, they don't trust. Because there is a reason, right? You can process the why later, but it will come off. And that happened 100 times. So if you suppress that, you're more likely to get screwed. And you say, well, I knew it. I don't know why I couldn't explain this. The explanation is not given if you are not thinking with your frontal neocortex. It's coming from your primitive part of the brain that's there to protect you. So just trust it. You can try to think the why later.
Mm-hmm. How frequently do you follow your intuition? And did it ever?
When it comes out, right? Because I don't control that. When you have that intuition, yeah, I listen to it.
You listen to it.
Yeah, I try to, yeah.
Did it get you in trouble?
Not that I recall. I mean, it got me in trouble when I didn't listen to it. Or I made mistakes when I didn't listen to it.
Really?
I mean, so the point where it kind of like shift, I was intuitive and I knew to be intuitive and listen to it. One case happened to me in my first company. It was a liquidation company, and this guy came into my office, and I right away thought he's gonna screw me. I have to be careful, and I didn't know why, and I didn't understand how, and I treated him very. I was very apprehensive talking to him, and I remember that I felt bad for talking to him like this because he didn't do nothing, and he said, "No, I understand. I'll pay first. I know your rules because I said you got to pay first, no returns, ta 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 ta." And he said, "No, I understand," and I felt bad for talking to him like this, but it was in me. Later on, I was right about everything. Point is, I asked, and I don't want to break the whole technicality of why he told me this and how did I know. Years later, it's COVID. You can't leave the house. I broke up with my ex. I'm by myself in my apartment at the time. And I thought about it. How did I know? Processing this, eventually I said, I know why. It hit me. Because he came in smiling to me, and he's a client. He's coming in as a buyer, first time. His face was a face of a seller, not a buyer. It took me years to understand, my brain said he's not coming to buy, he's coming to sell you a story. If he's trying to sell you something, he's gonna steal money from you. He's gonna sell you a story that he's gonna take the goods and pay you later, which that's exactly what he was doing later. But I didn't understand that, but then he said, that's a used car salesman face that you've seen all your life, and this scenario, that's when they're trying to screw you. So what happened in my case, it was intuitive. I listened to it. I obviously dodged that bullet, but the reason I didn't understand the why was because it was intuitive. You can process a smile. You can have a smiley guy coming trying to buy from you and be nice to you, but it's not the same smile with the same face features, fake smile like a salesman. And that was the reason I was able to. So yeah, just trust.
I see. I think with social media, and you're really good with organic social media, people react to energy. And that's that universal language that doesn't have words. You can just feel someone authentic, in alignment, and someone who doesn't.
Yeah, and that's when we're talking. I don't know if it's part of when we started recording, but I told you some people have it, some people don't in front of the camera, and they're just feeling natural. Some people would feel alive as soon as they give them that phone. So if today everything is live shopping, and if anyone's listening to this and he's saying, well, how do I know I found the right person? The only way to know if they sell. It's like, if they sell better than someone else, I mean, if the product sucks, okay, what's the baseline of selling? If they're doing better. Some people are just feeling alive and they have it. Some don't, and don't try to teach them. They can be better than what they used to be. They're not going to be better than the natural person without training. So just keep kissing frogs until it turns into a princess.
And that, coming back to what you said in the beginning, don't follow your passion, but here, follow your passion because it's something natural. By betting on your strengths, you win big. Maybe choose the vertical or industry rationally, but your role, you will always be the most successful if you play your strengths, right?
Well, I would say this because to win big, there's a lot of reasons why some people win big. They just got to be really good with what they do. But whatever you do, if you're limiting yourself for only your hobby, you can be the greatest, but you took a crappy category because that was your passion. I like building tables, and this is all you're gonna do, and it's like this is the market you're gonna be in, and that's small, and then that's where you limit your great potential. From there to make it big, that's a different story. There's like it's either you're gonna make it or not. Like not everyone can make it to the NBA, right? No matter how hard you're gonna try and how good your trainer is gonna be. So.
Yeah. So you founded BoxyCharm 2013, zero beauty industry and experience.
Yeah.
scaled to 100 million in revenue, over
500.
500 million in revenue, and you sold it for $500 million dollars, like over that, to Etsy.
Ipsy.
Ipsy. Oh, hold on. Ipsy and Etsy. I guess it's because
Everyone get confused. Don't feel bad about this. I will not judge.
okay. Okay, so this is life-changing exit. How much did you pay in taxes?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Did you make a mistake there? Like,
No, there was no mistakes. I mean, I knew exactly what I was doing. Look, I will tell you that the process of selling the company was probably the most rewarding part at the end of all this, because the learning lesson from all this is that, I mean, actually before that, because it's the second company I sell, the one thing you do learn is that I sold a box every month. That was a product. The company is a product. There's a shelf, and there are buyers for companies. Once you realize that, you understand that every time you have a company, you make sure that you have a product that you sell, and you see that there's a shelf out there, people buying to buy your product. Same thing when you sell your business, and you just have to position yourself right to this. It has to come out right.
company sells products, but company is also a product. So is your recommendation built from the beginning to sell, essentially?
So I thought, that was one thing. I was inexperienced when it comes down to it. I entered a category that was new. So the only exit in that space was mine. Yeah, the only real exit, right? That's it. And after that, the whole industry fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Well, it was monthly beauty subscription box. I can't speak to all subscriptions out there, because you have two types of subscription. It's a technical explanation. There are two types: replenishment and discovery.
Yeah.
If I buy razors or medication or Zempic, it's a replenishment. Mine was discovery. Replenishment, on one hand, it's easy, and the fact that you know exactly what you're delivering every month and it's all the same and that's it. It's no headache. Discovery, I have to come up with new exciting stuff every month. However, when I sell replenishment, you're not going to take a picture every month. Oh, I got my Ozempic, and you're not going to do it every month. But when it's discovery, because it's a surprising part, many of the members, if you do give them good products, they will post this and they'll talk about this and they'll refer, and they become organic, influential people for you.
Yeah.
So if you're doing the job right, you will keep growing. If you're not, problem. So then what happened is, the one that is replenishment eventually has to fight a churn. So you get the first members, because those are the easiest members. The first, let's just say the first group of people are the ones with the highest affinity for that product. It's the easiest, lowest CAC to acquire them. But then eventually you get the ones that they have less affinity for the product, so they don't stick around that much, they don't talk about this as much, and that's it. And then it gets to be more and more challenging to grow the business. In my case, it's the same exact thing. So you get the first 300,000 members that are crazy about color cosmetics. They would never cancel. They will refer to anybody, and you run through those. From there on, as you keep growing, it gets more and more challenging to bring in more members, but also to retain them. And then everybody has to fight the churn. When it's replenishment, if the product is a necessity, you'll have that size, and it is what it is, and they have to get it. But in the other part, comes a difficult timing, they'll cancel. During COVID, when people were worried about buying toilet paper, what are you going to do? People are going to cancel by the masses.
Yeah.
But when you get a stimulus check, people will buy stuff they don't need. Vibrators, whatever it is. So we had to stop our marketing campaigns because people bought nonstop. We only had so many boxes. So we blew up right after the stimulus check. So it was a momentum. Overall, why did they decline was because the momentum of the color cosmetic category died, and it was very hard to retain people when the crazy color cosmetic category changed from crazy colors eyeshadows to no makeup look.
Yeah.
And now makeup is not exciting anymore. So the whole category was declining. And I saw this in 2017. I saw that 17-year-old girls don't do the makeup that we sell.
It's like
They
alcohol.
do no makeup.
People don't drink alcohol. People
Exactly.
don't do makeup.
It was a 7-year cycle. You have to think about this: 7 good years, 7 bad years. 3 years before we sold, I saw it with the 16, 17-year-olds. I told my partners, we have 3 years to get out of here. And like a clock, we sold it 3 years later with the skin of our teeth. And, 2021 was a correction to 2020. 2020 was inflated because stimulus checks. 2021 was a major, major correction. Nobody wanted to get boxes because now they open up the country. Everybody wanted to travel. Moreover, the people wanted to buy in physical places. And then that's when the no makeup look started booming. No one wanted to do those crazy colors. So if you do not have eyeshadow palette with crazy colors, people don't stick around that long. So they'll come in maybe for a good skincare product, but they're not going to stick around for a year or 2 years. And that was the problem in that category.
I see. Do you feel like in the makeup specifically now, the focus is more on, taking care of your skin so you don't need makeup?
I mean, the industry is going through a big shift right now because now biohacking and longevity is cutting in, and peptides, everything changes. So there's that big, you're going to see many companies coming in and they'll say, we have peptides. I mean, I can shoot so many holes into the Sephora brands and I love them, don't get me wrong, but the level of understanding for most of the founders that are throwing peptides into their skin right now, it's ridiculous. You have no idea how it works. Most of what you put in your cream does not go through your epidermis, which is the protective layer of the skin. There's a very specific protocol with transdermal creams that can be penetrating that size molecule, and there's absorption tests that none of you even know what it is. And then there's the dosage that you need based on testing to see when does it actually go through to your bloodstream and when does it actually affect, at what level. So most of them wouldn't have that information, but the community that understand that are more in the biohacking. And that's where you're going to see a shift. So those who understand this will survive. Those who don't will just be...
Okay, biohacking. Did you start a company? Are you advising? What is your...
No, I'm just doing it on myself. I sold the company, got a good amount of cash. I'm in my 40s now, late 40s now. Life was great. I'm in Miami. They opened up the country before anybody. I was like, you can go out. And you're single with money. Company was kind of famous. Life was amazing. Can be better. Heaven cannot be better than that. So I got to stick around. So what do you do? Oh, well, I mean, you're around all those billionaires and celebrities. So they're telling you about this thing called biohacking longevity. And they're telling you about peptides. And you start doing peptides as a person. And it's so transformative. It's not like you're taking vitamin C. I don't know. It helps, not help. I still get a flu once in a while. I don't know. Peptides is a different level. And you tell yourself, okay, this is the next thing. This is where I have to put my time. I have to figure out a concept for business. I don't want to sell what everybody else sells in peptides. So eventually I discovered one peptide that was, it was just coming out of research, and they got the GRAS approval, which means you can sell it as a supplement. It's a pill. It's not injection.
Okay.
And once you understand what the peptide does, it's a mind-blowing.
How do I buy it?
That's my company, PepNow.com.
PepNow.
Yes. This peptide, and my nickname to it is the cold plunge peptide. That's my nickname because what it does in clinical studies, it basically converts your white fat tissues to brown fat tissues, which means white fat tissues are our fat tissues that cannot burn fat.
Okay.
Brown burn fat.
Okay.
It turns the quality of your fat tissues to brown. You start burning fat in fat tissues. And the first fat we saw burning in studies, it was actually here in Fort Lauderdale. Mm-hmm. It was randomized control group, 17% visceral fat reduction in 2 months.
Wow.
That is mind-blowing.
In one person?
It was the average
of
what was the reduction across a group of, because there was placebo versus non-placebo.
Would it help me to lose weight?
Yes. However, I don't like this. So here's what happened.
It's not a medical
if you want to lose, no. I understand it's not, but I'll explain to you something about weight loss.
Okay, tell me.
Weight loss really is coming when you take a GLP-1 because it's calories in, calories out, and you need to control your appetite. You can lose weight with many other things, including this peptide, but that would be more, in my mind, a support because you are increasing your metabolic rate taking this peptide. Because you're basically...
burn more calories.
Yeah, because you're turning more fat tissues to active fat tissues that burn fat.
Yeah.
So you're metabolically better. But when you're metabolically better, you might be more hungry and get another sandwich. So that's why I don't like calling it... This is just making you a healthier person. It fixes your mitochondria in fat cells. mitochondria that's dysfunctional, that doesn't burn fat. When you fix your mitochondria, it's a longevity product. When you fix your mitochondria, anything related to longevity is going to be mitochondria. So this is boosting your metabolic rate. The name of the peptide, you can search it as PEP19, or the name for it is RMH peptide. All the research goes under PEP19, but RMH peptide stands for restoring metabolic health. Your fat tissues become brown. This is what happens when you do cold plunge. When you do cold plunge, in order to warm up your body when you get a cold shock, your body it basically forces fat tissues to burn fat by fixing the mitochondria. They release what calls uncoupling protein 1. That is the protein within the mitochondria that breaks down fat for a thermogenic process. When you walk in, right now it's 90 degrees outside. We're in Miami. When you come over here, it's 68 degrees. Your body has to stay at 78 degrees. It has to get energy from some source. It's either going to burn muscle, it's going to burn fat. You don't want it to burn muscle. You want it to burn fat. It fixes now, a healthier person has more brown fat. Unhealthy person has a lot more white fat. Every time you create a fat tissue, your body decides to do brown, right? This one takes what's already white, turn it into brown. It also helps 20 other things, but in a nutshell, that's one of the things it does. It also helps your hemoglobin A1C. It makes you insulin sensitive. And the studies that will be released will show the results. It is kind of like groundbreaking. But it's coming soon, so you'll see that. There are quite a few studies coming.
Wow. So you were working on the outside of people, now you're working on the inside.
Yes.
Question, if a person already healthy, can I harm myself with peptides?
Yes. Depends which ones, and depends what you take.
If I'm taking yours, what?
No, mine we get the safety approval from the FDA, and you can sell it over the counter in CVS. I wouldn't say that the study that they did was 3 grams, and there was nothing wrong with nothing happened. Right now, our dosages are 10 milligrams. So just to give you perspective. So the only thing is, if you take 3 grams, it's just very expensive pee. You're gonna pee it all out. That's what happened. But so you don't take it out. But we couldn't find so far with studies. The one thing you have to understand about peptides, I have a fridge full of peptides. Obviously, most of them are injectables. This is a pill. In my case, it's a pill. You don't need to inject this, and because it's stable through the stomach acid, so it goes through the bloodstream. But most peptides are through injection because it's non-regulated. And the one thing you know for sure that's going to work if you get injection. So they need to go through. And yeah, some things mess me up. I mean, I did take ipamorelin and tesamorelin together, and my joints, I couldn't sleep good, and it happened. It's a known side effect. So I stopped after 2 months, and it took me 2 months to get back to normal.
Oh, wow.
To get rid of the side effects. But it was all worth it, though.
So it's not just about like losing weight, looking better, but there are certain issues with organs that peptides somehow able to recover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shh. Jinjuk, what is happening? He's like, peptides.
I look at your dog, and it reminds me of Shiba Inu.
Yeah.
This is the same dog, right? That's the same
Shiba Inu.
Yeah, this is Shiba Inu, yeah.
Yeah. He's the most handsome.
Can you believe it? Back in the day with NFT, when people were sarcastic, when we didn't understand
Dogecoin.
Why should I invest in NFT and all that, it was like, oh, NFT.
So here's the question for you, because when I worked at Big Low at Cool, I did a lot of crypto and Web3 work, and still there is a real thing there, but there is a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
Now we have AI and peptides. So what do you think is fluff? What do you think is real?
Oh, no, this is a great question. Look, so when I got in, so obviously I was looking for the next thing, and when you see suddenly NFT and so on, you say, look, I understand what it is, but I don't understand what it is. And, the fact that I don't, and it's okay not to invest because it's not the only asset class I need to invest in. I want to invest in what I understand. Now, the thing with peptides, when I saw the results, I said, you know what, look, yes, there's going to be momentum for that because it's a supply and demand. Only if you will supply, demand will grow faster than the supply. And that would be the momentum to come in. However, in the next 10 years or so, people will talk about peptides like we're talking vitamins and minerals in my mind. Many of the peptides, in my opinion, will have a radical ease of use where we're not going to need to inject. We'll find a way to get stable molecule that can get through. In a pill, and you can see it already with GLP-1, you can get pretty good results with GLP-1, and that's what they're working on. And this happened to be already studied for 20 years because the PEP19 was discovered in '06, and it's just 20 years of studies. So it happened to be stable as it is, but overall, we're gonna be using peptides as much as we're using vitamins and minerals. And even that, when we're talking vitamins, minerals, and supplements, there are some supplements that can be much more transformative than the regular stuff we're using, and they're coming together. So when I feel is that a category that's going to go away, it's never going to go away, knowing what it does. It's just going to be like any other market where at first it was few companies that figure it out early, then there's going to be fragmentation, lots of people doing the same thing. Then there'll be consolidation. And that's the process of a healthy category that's not a flop. When you're looking at NFT, where nobody really understood, but it was a gamble. It was just going to Vegas. It was fun. It was gambling, whatever it is. You want to buy a Bored Ape Yacht Club, and you feel like you're going to actually want to pay $200,000 for one of those because... So that was one of those moments.
I wanted to buy one for my avatar, but I genuinely couldn't understand the value, although I was like deep in that. And I was like drafting the contracts, buying this land in the imaginary metaverse. And I'm like,
metaverse, yeah.
What is happening? And what is the real value?
They were buying stuff for value of real homes so quickly. And you said to yourself, I understand what they're doing in this one, but until I actually see... So when you invest right now in the stock market, right? If I ask myself, okay, if I want to build a portfolio in my in the stock market portfolio, right? If I want to be conservative, then the best way to see it is I'll invest in a company that is profitable, that has a profitable PE, that it's going to be, say, 15 to 25 PE, right, ratio, and it grows year over year because the space makes sense. It's going to be a traditional business, and I'll put the money, maybe there's some dividend, and I'm not going to get rich over it, but it would preserve my wealth. Now, if I want to make money, big time, maybe it's going to work, maybe I'll lose it all, but that's the high risk, high reward, and I'm going to go to, say, 20 different companies that maybe one of them is going to go 100x. And then that might be worth it, and some will break even and so on. So that is the same way. That would be the NFT. Coming out, right momentum, it might be a thing, it might be it might be tulips, and we all lost all our money, which makes, but that's, if you put something in it, just make sure if you don't really understand, put money that you're allowed to lose.
Yeah.
And you give it to yourself. And then maybe once you see some great success, pull the principal with some interest, and then leave the rest to run. Maybe something comes out of it.
Yeah. We've coming back to peptides. So what is your routine right now? What are you taking? What is your, and what may be specific benefits it would give you?
Sure. I will tell you what I do on myself, right? I take PEP19. I've been doing it over a year now. The second thing I do is I take Matzi, but I cycle it off. I never take it consistently.
Is it GLP-1?
No. Matzi is not a GLP-1.
It's a peptide.
Matzi is a peptide. Both of those peptides help you be insulin sensitive through completely different pathways. One is thermogenic process, which is PEP19, makes you burn fat on the fat cell level. The other one burns more, and it makes you insulin sensitive through that pathway. And the other one makes you insulin sensitive through another pathway, make you more energetic. But again, Matzi, I cycle off. The other one, I find that when I stop, I see results going down with PEP19. It's on my personal level. You do not need to stop. The other one, there is eventually decline in results with Matzi. So either you increase the dosage or you just cut it off for like 2-3 months, which that's what I do. I'll take BPC-157 only when I have injuries, and I inject it to the injury place, because that's where it actually makes the results. I do not take it every day. I will also take when I have an injury, only then I'll take tesamorelin or ipamorelin with CJC, 1295. The only time I'll take it when I have an injury, because that's a secregon, which it releases more growth hormone. I don't want to release more growth hormone. I'm okay. But I release it when I have an injury. So I take it alongside BPC-157 for about a month, because that would improve the recovery rate. But I don't take it every day, because one thing I did, I did learn, and again, I'm citing David Sinclair on this one. This is Dr. David Sinclair. This is not my, I don't do research. I'm just a person. When you increase more, when you stimulate the pituitary gland to release more growth hormone and IGF-1, it is good because of the reasons that you release more growth hormone and you can repair issues. But also, it's bad when you take it consistently because then you're aging your cells faster. And my goal is not to do
to age faster.
I don't want to do short longevity. I want to do longevity. So I'm not into the business of kind of like graying hair faster and so on. So I stopped taking it at that point because I'm not looking to age myself sooner. Because when you have growth hormone consistently released more than what you need, then that's when you aging yourself faster.
Okay, so this is complex. This is the first time I've heard so many words that I don't know what they mean. And like the numbers, it sounds to me like probably how I sound for a non-legal person when I talk about legal stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is insane. And it has consequences. You can mess yourself up. You can like age forward. Like it is dangerous.
I mean, look, by the end of the day, it's very hard to measure it on humans. It's easier to measure it on mice and so on because they only live 24 months. Lab mice, they all live the same. So you can measure it much, much better. And not everything that works on mice works on us. Many of what I said is theoretical unless it was studied on humans and you've seen that it actually does X, Y, Z. But in terms of longevity, think of it this way, all right? When you look at MATSI, they've done clinical studies on centenarians, people who has over 100 years already in Japan. And what they've seen is one of the commonalities for them is that they have high levels of MATSI. Mm-hmm. So they said, okay, we don't know if it's going to make you live longer, but that is an indicator of people who live longer they have high levels circulating MATSI, meaning they have a lot of it in their blood. The other thing is that they've done MATSI experiment on and also NMN on mice, and those who had it outlived the placebo group. So that is not necessarily, this is not an exact science, but if you do think, okay, how can I live longer? Well, fix your mitochondria. That's what they do. That's what PEP19 does, right? So it's like, fix your mitochondria. People with better older people with better mitochondria are in a better condition. Centenarians would usually have very healthy mitochondria. That's the powerhouse of the cell. Within the cell, you have little cells. They call mitochondria, and they take the glucose from the... so the insulin picks up the glucose, give it to the mitochondria. The mitochondria turns it to what they call ATP. The P stands for phosphate, and that turns into a positive charge, and it burns. And that's the energy that we have. If in that process something doesn't work, it goes back into fat. We convert it into fat, and that's not good. So, and then if it gets to fat, the fat has to be burned also for either energy or thermogenic process. Usually in an extreme condition, the body repairs itself and it uses that. If you're starving, it's going to burn fat. If you're freezing to death, it's going to burn fat. In my opinion, well, not mine, but my company, because legal entities, you burn fat without the freezing, without going into a cold plunge. That's how you do it.
Wow. Thank you so much for educating me. Like you're the first person.
I'm here for that. You're looking at an angel coming from the sky to educate you.
No, to be honest, I've never, I've heard of peptides, but I've never had this deep conversation. And it's always
your life will change now because it's going to come into your feed. It's going to come into your life.
Because my phone is listening to
your phone is listening, and I'm telling you now, your friends that are mentioned, it's going to come into your universe more and more.
Okay. But I would take things from people I trust. Like I would trust you. So I definitely explore the company, your company. And I'm curious. I just don't want to mess things up. And one question with that, I do the blood work, everything, and I have a bunch of vitamins that I'm taking. And then the rest is like sleep, do what you love, have close relationships, eat like veggies, enough protein, drink water.
Everything is great. Everything you're doing is a healthy lifestyle, right? So when you say, well, I want to live healthy, this is not biohacking. Living healthy is before biohacking.
Yeah.
First, you live healthy, just like you mentioned, good sleep, good food, social life, all that, right? Then hack is basically you take a product from one category, you move it to another category. So when you say, well, I'm also hacking my way through finding ideas. So for instance, okay, if you want to do an activity that's going to hack something, you say, well, I go to the gym, say 5 times a week. But if I tell you every morning you wake up and you do, say, 10 minutes of physical activity. As soon as you wake up, you need your heart rate, you want to boost your heart rate as soon as you wake up. Because let's just say you hit the gym around 3 p.m., 4 p.m. after work.
Yeah.
Your metabolic rate starts usually increasing after you move your body a little bit more. You wake up with the lowest metabolic rate because you slept.
Yeah.
And, it takes you around like 4 p.m. when you hit the gym. That's when it's boosting it. And then eventually you dumb it down and you go to sleep. If you wake up and you say do 10, 20 squats and then you do some jump ropes and then you start your day, you just boost your metabolic rate. Yeah, you burn some calories, but your metabolic rate just went up. Now you're gonna have higher metabolic rate for the next few hours just because you did this. And you burn those extra calories without doing anything special, but it was already metabolically healthier for the next few hours. That would be a hack. So if I go and I do a workout right now and I burn 100 calories, that's not a hack, that's a workout. That's good, that's important, that's lifestyle. But the hack is you just add an additional 10 minutes as soon as you wake up, and then you wait about 6 to 8 hours and you do another one. You keep your metabolic rate higher. Now that delta in between where you woke up to that part, that is your hack. And you will see transformative results like you've never seen before. That little change would transform everything, but you gotta get uncomfortable when you do those 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. You gotta get uncomfortable. You have to break a little bit of muscle, do body weight, don't kill yourself, some resistant bands, but get it done. You'll have enough glucose and glycogen to burn later on in the gym, but it would be so transformative. For me, it was one of the ways to break because I got stagnant after a while trying to lose weight. I was losing weight. That was one of the best ways.
Wow, it's interesting. So, like the weight that my ideal weight that I like, it was when I was living in New York, and I would wake up, and the first thing in the morning I would do the workout. I didn't know that this is a hack. I did it, but I guess that is a hack.
Yes,
I just
it's
not
a
aware.
hack. It's a hack. More like for me, the way if you understand why you do it, if you work up every day and that's the only time you work out, I would say, okay, then your hack would say, okay, now you go to the office, you stay there, you're not doing anything for a couple hours. So if you work out, like heavy workout, as soon as you wake up, then do the same thing I said, but 6 to 8 hours later.
Yeah.
It would be at the same scale, right? Because your metabolic rate goes down, poof, give it another boost, get it back up, and then let it go down. But don't do it too late because you want to lower your cortisol before you go to sleep. So you don't want to do it like after 7 p.m. If you go to sleep at 10, then 7 p.m., that's the last time you do it.
Okay, give us the day that you think would be ideal. What is the foundational things, and what are the hacks that will maximize that?
So what I mentioned is this, right? I feel like it's on what would apply all for everybody, and I don't want to say I'm a biohacker for all. It was just on my results. It worked for me.
Okay.
Okay. I have 2 workouts a day. Yeah, I might not
2 workouts a day?
5 days out of the week, I can do the second workout. Okay. And every day I will do in the morning, no matter what. Even if I have to catch a flight, at least do 50 squats. I wouldn't do push-ups, I would do squats because it's a bigger muscle group, and you get your heart rate higher. 50, whatever it is, just do something hard as soon as you wake up, right? I make my bed, that's my non-negotiable. Then after that, when I eat, okay, if somebody's interested in keeping healthy, losing weight, or maintaining healthy weight, and right now we're not talking supplements, we're not talking peptides, we're just talking 3 meals at max, all right? 2 to 3 meals, but make sure you get the right amount of protein. That's the most important thing. So you start with the protein. If I have eggs with avocado and whatever it is, I finish the eggs first.
Yeah.
Then I'll do everything else. Get the protein out of the way. Don't get the carbs before. That was the biggest mistake. Switch for the protein, then the fats, then the fibers. Then if you get carbs or sweets, that's fine. Do it later. Of course, I'll tell you get the healthy version or whatever, but let's just say you're there. So do this at the end because you can guarantee the amount of protein you need. Right? And if you have to, get a shake or something like this, but don't miss the protein amount. And then do the workout I mentioned. Those alone will transform everything. And I feel like motivation comes from results and discipline. So you start with discipline, you see results, you get motivation. So it's very hard for you to start because you're very tired. You tell yourself, I didn't work out. I don't want to work out because I didn't sleep good enough. I'll tell you, Try to stay an extra hour in bed, sleep an extra hour. I would prioritize sleep over
Sleep,
workout.
yeah, number one.
So, but then when you work out, if it's so hard for you, just do the first set. Just get the first set. Once you do the first set, the second one mentally is easier, and then the third one is easier. Just get the first set done. And if you're forcing yourself, get the hardest set that you don't want to do. So if you hate more than anything doing squats, which that's my thing, or abs, whatever it is, do the first one, the one you hate the most. Everything else looks easier after.
Yeah.
That's just the mind fight, and that's how you get it. But if you can't even do that, just do the easiest. I just get something done, and the second one is easier.
Nice.
Because you don't always want to do it. It's just, it happens. Everybody has a raining day.
So even if you just wake up, do the hard thing, even for 10 minutes, and then the protein breakfast, even if you don't get the second workout, that is already gonna be
Yeah. I would miss the second workout, because I do 5 days a week. I don't have time every day. Sometimes you have to pick up the kids, you have to do stuff, activities with them. So I established the fact that there'll be 2 days that I would probably not work out. Some things, it happens. You have to fly somewhere. It is what it is. You have life in between. I'm not making it a religion.
Yeah.
I have a buddy of mine that told me that he does the Wim Hof method breathing, right? And he said, I will miss a flight if I'm in the middle of this. She doesn't agree. I'm just do it on a plane. Just stop, wait, get on the flight. Do it when you're like, don't make it a religion, right? Don't go and tell yourself, live your life like you said, see friends, do everything. And you just go in and add that into your life, and you're gonna see that it's a lot easier. The addiction to food. By the way, if you want to get rid of any addiction to craving for bread, sugar, and all that, the easiest way is to say, well, get rid of it, right? But what I found for me was that I will eat more sweets now than I ever ate, but it's in a form of fruits and honey. Back in the day, I cut down all the sweets, but I was starving for it all the time, for sweets. And I learned it's because I had oatmeal, and that I cut off my diet. All those complex carbs I cut off my diet, and now I don't have the addiction to sweets.
Wow.
And when I do sweets, it's honey, and I don't want that much anyway. And suddenly I see cakes and cookies, and I just don't care about this. I see bread, I don't care about it.
And did peptides help with that, or it just?
To me, all that happened before I had any GLP-1 peptides in my blood. I did take on and off microdosing because you definitely see results if you take trizepatide or retatrutide. But I do it once a while, and then you.
How do you microdose? How much do you do?
Well, if the dosage is say 50 units, I'll take 20 units. Right. So.
For how long?
I mean, I'll probably do it for like 2 months, about 2 months.
Every day?
No, it's once a week.
Oh,
It's a shot once a week, yeah.
Oh, okay. And it's injectable?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you do something on top of that to ensure you don't lose your hair? Like, there are some like the reels that...
I don't, I would see, the way you lose your hair is if you take testosterone for men. Okay, I don't know women, or maybe stress or something. But I don't do testosterone. I have natural testosterone. By the way, something I forgot to mention that I take for me, I learned that taking boron is a mineral. So testosterone, you have the regular levels of testosterone, and then you have the free testosterone. So my levels were always high, but the free was low. And the only thing I found that was very effective was boron. So I want to say after 3-4 months taking boron consistently every day, 10 milligram, I felt like when I was 20. And I don't want to break it down into your humble podcast, what it means for men to feel high testosterone, but you can understand what it means. It's like, it comes to you, right? I didn't lose hair because it was more in a natural way, and it was great, but I didn't have to inject testosterone, but my last test was 1,040, and it's all natural.
Okay.
So which means 1,040 for men my age, I'm 48, it's 0.01% in the population, and it's natural. So, I say natural. I am taking a boron, which is a mineral, so I don't have to go and inject. That's.
Do you take any vitamins? Or, for example, I'm taking iron, like vitamin D, and all of the stuff. If I start taking peptides, do I stop taking the vitamins?
Yeah. So the thing with vitamins, if you do blood tests properly, then you know what you need to take. I
Yeah.
don't believe in taking everything like a commodity.
No. I do it only
100
in
pills and
accordance with
so
the
on.
blood.
Yeah, so I'll tell you the only thing I started taking recently, just because I figured why not once a while, is vitamin C.
Yeah.
Back again. My D levels is actually high. I was taking it for a while consistently, and so what I'll do is I'll just do the blood test every few months, and then I say, oh, I need to increase it a little bit. So you take it, and then next you see that the levels are good, and you're fine with that.
So you do both peptides and the vitamins based on the blood test.
Yes, but I maybe take 5 pills a day.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, there was a point that I was taking about 40. And I said to myself, this is not a way to live. I mean, do I really need it? So I started doing blood tests. And then what I'm taking now, one of the pills is, well, 2 of those pills are, I'm taking 20 milligram a day for my peptide, even though we're selling it as 10, but I'm taking 20 grams of mine. So that's 2. And then I take 4 more, which is boron. And I do take 2 that are stem cell activators. So it's not vitamins necessarily, it's different minerals, but it activate and it mobilize more stem cell naturally in your body.
Wow. Okay. And what is the best way to get peptides? Like, how do people find it?
Yeah, you got to wait after the 26th when the government, for all the other peptides, mine, you go on pepnow.com and you get that peptide that would help you with what I mentioned, visceral fat reduction. You're going to be more insulin sensitive, and you can do a blood test before and after, and you can post this. Everybody can post the results. Now, if you're already healthy, think of it as, why do you go to the gym if you're fit? Well, I want to improve and maintain.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to live, you want to do longevity, this is one of the stack you take. Oh, and I take berberine, I forgot. Berberine helps you with insulin sensitivity on the day of. Mine takes you, makes you just insulin sensitive, but it takes about a few weeks because it builds it in your DNA. So if you want to do on the day of, you take berberine. So those are the 2 that I take.
I feel like vitamins is like software and peptides is like AI. Software is predictable. This is vitamin C. This is iron. This is what it is for. Peptides, it does something, and we're just hoping that it does exactly what it does.
So no, that's the opposite. Actually, I would say the vitamins we're hoping it does, because you don't necessarily take a vitamin and say, oh, I'm feeling so much great. You will feel it more in peptides. In mine, 60% of the people feel deeper sleep. In mine, right? So if you, like a week later, you start feeling deeper sleep. That every time when something helps you with visceral fat, more than half of the people would say, I feel better sleep.
Wow. Thank you so much, Yosef. This is the deepest dive down that I've had on peptides. And I hope there will be a platform like Lexi's legal operating system for companies. And I hope that there should be like a company that is, I don't know,
there's no mother and father yet. There are quite a few companies selling. It's hard to know which one is good and legitimate. Many of them will start coming out more and more. Once there's a court ruling, by the time this podcast is going to come out, it's probably already going to be a thing. But I can tell you there are quite a few companies wrapping up, waiting to go and start selling peptide direct to consumer, while compounding pharmacies are going to allow it. All the research grade peptides are going to be disappearing because you have 2 types. Those who know, and they know what I'm talking about. The government should have allowed this to stay during the Biden administration. So I'm going political, just as a user.
Yeah.
The Biden administration noticed that there was a bigger increase in usage of peptide in 2023, and I think it was September 27. The FDA banned any production or use of peptides. What they did was there are 2 lists. One is safe to use, the other one is not safe to use. They put all the peptides that are known to be safe to use, but are not FDA approved, they moved them to the do not compound list, not safe. So the only way to get them was not through compounding pharmacies, because compounding pharmacies didn't want to break that law. It was having to be through the gray market for research purposes, and that's not regulated. So then nothing changed. People bought it, but through the gray area where there is no oversight. So now it's going to change. All this is going to go back, I hope, on the 26th. And at that point, compounding pharmacies will do it again, so it will be safe to use. When you get it from a compounding pharmacy, they go through a lot of rigorous process of the FDA, so it's a different. And then you go to a doctor, and they'll prescribe it to you, and so on, and you'll find those online. I am sure that you'll type it in, and you'll find them, and you'll see big companies already selling it. I mean, I'll be surprised if Amazon eventually wouldn't be selling it.
And the last thing that I wanted to ask you about bootstrapping, because you're like king of bootstrapping, did you ever raise capital or no?
No, I never raised capital for any of my companies. The only company I have now, I have two companies. I have a distribution company. I have partners in that company. We ended up doing things together. The new company, some of them, it's like friend of family rounds. I told them you can put money in. At this point, when you sell a company big, and it was the second time, so everybody wants to come in with you, and there's sometimes social obligations to some people, and you love them. Like, you know what, put some money in with me, and we'll build something together. So this is the first time I'm actually launching a company that not all the money is mine, but it wasn't a raise because it's not something you raise money usually when you need the money.
So how, like in Silicon Valley, for everyone, of course, first thing you gotta raise, like you're pre-idea, pre-revenue, pre-everything, like we gotta raise money. How come it didn't come to you?
My first time when I opened my first company, I was an international student and I had about $375. So I didn't know, I didn't think, those years, I'm talking 2003, 2004, entrepreneurship, startups wasn't a thing, wasn't a conversation. There were no courses online. None of this ever happened. You figure out a new concept of how to sell. They tell you there's something called SEO, and you can promote and you can flip merchandise, a truckload from Sears, what's left over, and you can flip it. And okay, so you build a website, you learn how to code, and then you learn SEO by yourself, and the phone starts ringing.
That's how
and
it
people
works.
say, hey, I want that truckload. Okay, boom, you flip it, you make 20%, which can be 14,000, and you just, boom, as an international student that was eating rice and ketchup, now you have pockets full of cash, and you start flipping truckloads, and you're making money. And then eventually, wait a minute, my SEO position is kind of easy. I can do casino sites and get affiliate money. You start making all those Google AdSense where you put Google ads and you make money on clicks. And before you know it, you make like 20 grand a month just from those websites, not including the business. And life is good. So then eventually that business turned into about 10 million in sales. A new business idea come in, BoxyCharm. I have already infrastructure. I have employees. I have warehouse space. I have offices. I can leverage that. I'm leveraging that. I'm putting the first money in. That was myself. And all I know is to work with my money. So a year in, I started turning profit. I pull my investment back. I got everything. And then you sell a piece of that business, but it's all secondary.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, you're worth 20-some million. We'll give you like 10 million. Give us half of the business. Okay. 4 years later, you sell it for 500 million. But the process of raising money to put it back on a balance sheet as a primary was something that I never really came to a point that so I didn't know how to raise. I mean, I knew how to make money, but I didn't know how to raise. So it's kind of like you decide what's better. I guess it was a good thing in a way, but it's a bad thing because it took longer. I might have done things faster because, at least in the first business, it took me years because at first I had no money. I was a full-time student. And in between classes, I had to figure out how to make sure that the website is this, and then the email system, how to do it, and the phones, no one's picking up. So it takes you years. So there is a trade-off. Everything has a trade-off.
If you were going back, would you now raise money or no?
Now, I wouldn't change anything that happened. I felt like what I learned was more unique because there are less bootstrappers that got to that space and versus this. And then you have obtained, I would say, a perspective that all the non-bootstrappers don't have, and that would give you one up on them.
Yeah, how to make money and how to be successful without and be permissionless.
Okay, so I'll repeat someone's line when I was trying to sell the business. And one of the investment groups that came in looking at us, they said, look, most companies, they raise money, and there's a kind of like a Kool-Aid where you know how to raise money so good. You never so there's a path to profitability that all of them would show the investors, but no one ever reached to the point that they make the money, and then they're used to making all those rounds, and they're so good at this that when comes the time to actually make money, they don't know how to do it. And the business was not built around making money. It's a very bureaucratical business, too many. So ultimately, if you put your time into raising money all the time, it is completely different day and habits versus a founder like myself that is focused on product market fit and go viral and so on. So it's just completely two different approaches. So I like where I'm at.
Yeah, I really love that approach. I bootstrapped the company for 2 years, and I raised money only at the end of last year, and that allowed to build faster for sure. But my goal by the end of the year, break even profitability with the new like product tech team, because I just feel good when you are in control and you take only aligned investors who can help you hack.
You were raising money when you didn't need to raise, which that gives you, I guess, the difference between walking into a room to do desk side meetings with investors when you don't need their money and you do it because you don't need it, versus you need it, makes a big difference. And I mean, you will know the feeling, right?
Yeah.
What it means, and you can see how they look at you and how they want. It's kind of like turning around, like they're the one asking to raise money versus you to give you money versus the other way around. Yeah.
And it's how you said the guy came to sell versus buy. So
Yes.
yeah, but I think it's also it depends on the personality. Like someone who appreciates freedom, and who has that intuition going on in the body, that the only person you responsible for is the customer, and you get to make those bets and you get to follow your intuition on your own timeline. But I think venture money definitely expedited my timeline. So for 6 months, I was able to heads down build, hire the team, and now I'm again in selling. But like if I didn't raise, I could not afford 6 months me and people on the payroll without sales.
Well, the
building
good thing
product.
also, because you have already investment bankers and went through this, you went through a process, any type of process. When you want to sell the business later, you have already institutional money behind you, so people look at you different. And moreover, you have already people that they are aligned on your goal to sell the business, because obviously VCs don't want to pass the business to their kids. They want to sell, they want to cash out just like you. So they're going to be a powerhouse with you putting this together in the market, and they know how to sell businesses. You know how to sell your product, and that would be probably the instrumental part that they bring you. They don't need to run your business, but they need to help you run the sale of the business.
That's true. And now when like we're thinking about the next round, the previous lead does all of the work. And
The previous lead?
like the lead in the pre-seed,
Oh, the
she
lead
does
investor. Okay,
all
okay.
of the work.
Yes.
And opening the doors and introduction. So it makes my job easier.
You can focus on the business, make sure that during the due diligence process, you keep producing good, you're doing everything, and then they do most of the heavy lifting. They call you when they need you.
Exactly. So that's
awesome.
also an advantage. And having champions, I think entrepreneurial journey is hard. And when you have people who are aligned with you, but that relationship took 2 years, like to get to the point that like we're friends essentially.
How long have you been with your investors, the lead investor?
So the company started in December last year, but I've known her for over 2 years, and she was a client of my law firm.
Interesting.
So it took
And
a
it's
while.
actually good because you have good experience. I mean, some people don't have that. I had also great experience, fantastic. We're still friends. We're in different boards together. They brought me into different investments. It's like you can have very productive relationship with your investors, and you can have very disruptive. It depends who you are. It might be the founder, not always that the PEs and the VCs are. Sometimes it is the founder's fault. You know, like I've heard stories too from investors. Like, but sometimes it can be the other way. So,
have you made legal mistakes in this process?
No, legal mistakes I never had any issue. I mean, I ran over people with my car, maybe legal. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, never that. I never had any legal issues. I mean, I was just selling makeup that someone else produced and went through all the process. And every time you do something, it's just really scrutiny. It's just subscription. It's a very straightforward. In fact, if anything, we're overly protected. We basically wrote down way more than any law. Like, this is a subscription. We will charge you every month. Every place you clicked, we couldn't be more clear about that. So yeah, we're very clear. Yeah, but you still get sued. They'll still sue you. They'll still threaten you. All that stuff. But then you make sure you have everything down packed. Yeah.
So a strong legal foundation that you had allowed you to not lose in those lawsuits.
So nothing actually got to.
You settled.
The only lawsuit that was me suing other people that were just that was
You're
me.
the bully.
No, it was not a bully. I mean,
According to other people,
there was one lawsuit. It sounds bad. There was one lawsuit. What happened was there was a company, we paid them a deposit for product. When the full payment had to go through, the accounting team made a mistake and they've paid the full money. Later, we found out, wait a minute, that person got an extra 30 grand because that was the deposit. They also, we forget that we made the, so we said, can you please give it back? They said, no. I said, why not? Because that was 6 months ago. So they said, no, so you can take product worth of that. And they told me, do you want to take product? I'm like, oh no, I'd rather take a baseball bat, hit him on the head. Like, fuck that shit. So it's like, no. So I remember they said, oh, the lawsuit will take more. You know what? I'm doing about 200, at the time, 200 million a year. I'm fucking rich. Let me fuck up this guy. That fucking guy is not going to give me my money that I sent him my mistake. And he thinks I'm just going to sit down, do nothing. Let's fucking sue him. Let's go through the process because we can't even feel it on our, it's miscellaneous for us. It's nothing. This guy is a small company. As small as he is, that's how much of a thief he is. Big, but stupid. So let's go in. If he doesn't give me my money, and he could give it to me, say, look, I don't have all the money to pay you. We didn't know this. Okay, give me $3,000 a month. Do something. But fucking, it's not your money. So if you want to go there, no problem. Let's go. I always, like, you want to do this? Let's do this. So we went through the whole process, and yeah, we did this. And of course we won. Of course we got, but that was the only time because it happened to us that we made a mistake that we sent more money than we need. But no one in the right mind would go in and just, people are mostly are not thieves. You know, people are legitimate. And they would tell us, oh, you overpaid me. Here's the money back. Thank you. No problem. You know what? Keep the money. I will buy more product from you.
Yeah.
But when you're going in this way, I mean, I'm sorry. Allow me to fuck you over for that. So, and then we made sure, later on, I made sure I caused them more problem because my name was known and I made sure that I will tell people the experience and legally you can say what happened. So.
Wow.
Yeah, he felt this.
Okay, you're revengers. You don't like
I'm just not a
unfairness.
sucker. I don't know. That's not a revengers. I'm just not a sucker. If you're trying to steal from me, I'll come after you. You're going to feel me. Even if I'm going to lose the money, at least I'm not going to sit down doing nothing. And I don't think anyone should. But that was the only time I can recall. Maybe I'll go out like, oh shit, I had another one. I should have told you. But right now, that's the only thing that comes to mind.
And for 30K,
For 30K.
it costed you more money.
No, actually, the lawsuit wasn't that expensive. Was
No,
nice.
but like you thinking, talking, it's probably like,
I didn't go to that. I had someone doing this. I was just getting reports what happened, and that's it.
okay.
Yeah, just go send people after him. Go set the pit bulls. Yeah.
Okay. And the last question is, what is the meaning of your life?
Honestly, I do believe that we are here to see what is the quality of our soul. If we're good, there is a value for being good on this earth. Mm-hmm. If you're a good person, you are here to be tested. If I told you, look, there's guarantee that there is God, everyone's going to be good. It has to be a question mark. Is it true? Mm-hmm. Not sure. Can you go for the short term? Let me go and steal this. Or can you actually get the best out of yourself? We all have good and bad in us, and it's the constant battle. And I don't know if there is something out there. I hope there is, but in the meantime, I feel good being good with others. And if you do that, being good with other people, suck you into the light. If you're being bad, there is a vacuum that's very negative that can suck you into it as well. And we all have it in us. And if you have that escape velocity from the bad, you're going to feel much better. Every day will feel more beautiful because you were acting like this. So this is, for my case, it wouldn't be about the production of money or so on. This is a video game, all this business, and that's just a way to keep score the money. But feeling good about the everyday looking at yourself in the mirror is my meaningful life. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.